Come on, your CH.
यार मेडिकल एजुकेशन
And then advanced component, and then advanced key. उसमें बच्चों कुछ questions थे. Assalamu alaikum, students. Today we will discuss rickettsy. In the previous lecture, we discussed chlamydia, and today we will discuss rickettsy. The word is rickettsy. As you know, whenever we discuss a new bacteria or a new organism, we first discuss the important properties of that organism. And the important properties of rickettsy are they are obligate intracellular parasites. And what is obligate intracellular parasite? Obligate intracellular parasites are those organisms which must grow inside the cell. They can't grow outside the cell. So it is necessary for them, for their survival, that they should grow within the cell. They are very short rods and they are barely visible with the light microscope. And structurally, their cell wall resembles that of gram-negative rods, but they stain poorly with the standard gram stain. Rickettsy are obligate intracellular parasites because they are unable to produce sufficient energy to replicate extracellularly. So they must be grown within the cell. Rickettsy must be grown in the cell cultures, embryonated eggs, or in the experimental animals. So we can't culture it on the normal culture medias. We have to grow them in the cell cultures, embryonated eggs, or in the experimental animals. They divide by binary fission within the host cell. In contrast to the chlamydia, which are also obligate intracellular parasites but replicate by a distinctive intracellular cycle. As we discussed in the previous lecture that chlamydia has a distinctive intracellular cycle. It has a life cycle. And I told you chlamydia is the only bacteria which have a distinctive intracellular or life cycle. Whereas rickettsia, like all the other bacteria, they divide only by the binary fission. They are the this chart will give you a detailed view about the rickettsial diseases, the organism and the vectors as well. First of all, we will discuss the Rocky Mountain spotted fever. We will discuss the details of all these after later. Rocky Mountain spotted fever is caused by rickettsii. What is the organism? Rickettsii. And the arthropod vector is ticks. And the mammalian reservoirs are dogs or rodents. So rickettsial diseases are spread by arthropod vectors. What are the vectors? The vectors actually transmit the diseases to the definitive host. And then comes the rickettsial pox, which is transmitted by rickettsial acari, and the arthropod vectors are mites, and the mammalian reservoirs are mice. Then comes the typhus group, the epidemic. Rickettsia provisci is the cause of the epidemic typhus fever, and the arthropod vector is lice, and the mammalian reservoirs are humans. This chart is also in your books. And then comes our rickettsial typhi, which causes the endemic typhus fever, and the arthropod vector are fleas, and the mammalian reservoirs are rodents. Then comes a scrub. The organism is or the rickettsial species is Rickettsia tsutsugamushi. Rickettsia tsutsugamushi. And the arthropod vector is mice, and the mammalian reservoirs are rodents. Then comes the Q fever, and the Q fever is an exception because there is no arthropod vector. So remember, the Q fever is an exception because there is no arthropod vector. All the other diseases were transmitted by the arthropod vectors, but the Q fever can't be transmitted by the arthropod vector, and there are only mammalian reservoirs, which are cattle, sheep, and the goats, and the organism is Coxiella burnetii. What is the organism? Coxiella burnetii, and there is no arthropod vector. Several rickettsia, such as Rickettsia provisci, Tsutsugamushi, rickettsii possesses antigen that cross-react with the antigens of the OX strains of the Proteus vulgaris, and this is the basis of actually the Wehlflix test, which we do in the Proteus and in Rickettsia as well. In the Wehlflix test, which detects the anti-rickettsial antibodies in the patient's serum by the agglutination of the Proteus organisms, is based on this cross reaction. So the rickettsial antigens cross react with the OX strains of the Proteus vulgaris. क्या हो रहा है बेटा? Rickettsial antigens जो हैं, they cross react with the Proteus vulgaris OX strains. So we will detect the anti-rickettsial antibodies in the patient's serum by agglutination of the Proteus organisms. So patient serum के अंदर बेटा हम antibodies देखते हैं जब उनकी agglutination होती है with the Proteus organism. This is the basis of the Wehlflix test. Coxiella burnetii has a spore-like stage that is highly resistant to drying. As you know, the spores are actually the resistant phases, and spore is not a dividing phase. Actually, it is a phase when the environment is not suitable for the division or for their growth. So वो छुप जाते हैं एक रेजिस्टेंट फेज में बैक्टीरिया which are we call the spores. We discussed in detail the spores in your general bacteriology. So Coxella burnetii has a spore-like stage that is highly resistant to drying, which enhances its ability to cause infection. It also has a very low in ID50. ID50 is actually the infectious dose. And as I told you, ID50 is actually the infectious dose, and the number of organisms that are actually required to cause disease in 50% of individuals. And look at this, it also has a very low ID50, estimated to be approximately 1 organism. इससे पहले बेटा हमने ID50 जो है वो सबसे लो किसकी पढ़ी थी? We discussed in detail in the previous lectures that Shigella has very low infective dose. So as you and the infective dose of Shigella was 100 organisms. So Rickettsia has a very low ID50, which is only 1 organism. So in the whole bacteriology, the bacteria which has a very low ID50 is the strain of Rickettsia, which is Coxella burnetii. Now comes the transmission. The most striking aspect of the life cycle of Rickettsia is that they are maintained in nature in certain arthropods. As we discussed in the previous table, that the arthropods are actually the vectors of Rickettsia, and they are maintained in nature in certain arthropods such as ticks, lice, fleas, and mites, and with one exception, which is Coxella burnetii, and they are transmitted to humans by the bite of arthropod. So they are actually maintained in nature in certain arthropods. Arthropods are could be ticks, lice, mites, or fleas, and they are transmitted to humans by the bite of the arthropod. So arthropods are actually the vectors of disease in which they are the organism is present. The Rickettsia circulate widely in the bloodstream, and when the bacteria, which is called bacteremia is actually the bacterial count in the blood, or the bacteria in the blood, and infecting primarily the endothelium of the blood vessel wall. So actually Rickettsia जो बेटा target किसको करता है? Rickettsia actually targets the endothelium of the blood vessels, and it will cause vasculitis. So actually Rickettsia कहाँ पे present है? They are actually the obligate intracellular parasites, so they must be present within a cell. So they are present in certain arthropods such as ticks, lice, or mites, and they are transmitted to the humans by the bite of the arthropod. So they are present within the arthropods, with one exception, which is Coxella burnetii. And the Rickettsia circulates within the bloodstream, and actually they targets the endothelial of the blood vessels and causes vasculitis. So the disease symptoms are due to the vasculitis. The exception to the arthropod transmission is Coxella burnetii, the cause of Q fever, which is transmitted by aerosol and inhaled into the lungs. Actually, they are transmitted, the reservoirs of Coxella burnetii are actually the cattle, sheep, or they are transmitted by the aerosol or by droplets, and they are inhaled into the lungs. Now comes to the pathogenesis of Rickettsia. The typical lesion caused by Rickettsia is vasculitis. As I told you, the site of the target of the Rickettsia is endothelial of the blood vessels. So the typical lesion caused by Rickettsia is vasculitis, and particularly in the endothelial lining of the vessel wall where the organism is found. So the organism is found in the humans in the endothelial lining of the vessels. The damage to the vessels of the skin results in the characteristic rash, edema, and hemorrhage caused by increased capillary permeability. Whenever they attach themselves to the endothelial lining of the vessel wall, there will be increased capillary permeability, वेसल वॉल की बेटा परमेबिलिटी जो है वो इंक्रीज हो जाती है एंड देयर विल बी कैरेक्टरिस्टिक रैश, एडिमा एंड हेमरेज। जब भी डैमेज होगा एंडोथेलियल ऑफ द वेसल वॉल्स को, जब भी आपकी ब्लड वेसल्स का डैमेज होगा, देयर विल बी रैश, एडिमा एंड हेमरेज ड्यू टू द इंक्रीज वेस्कुलर permeability. Now we will move towards the Rocky Mountain spotted fever. Rocky Mountain spotted fever is a disease that is characterized by the acute onset of the non-specific symptoms such as fever, severe headaches, and myalgias. And the organism responsible for Rocky Mountain spot fever is rickettsia. So there is acute onset of fever, severe headache, and myalgias. Myalgias is muscle pain. Other profound central nervous system changes could be present, such as delirium and coma can occur. Disseminated intravascular coagulation, DIC, is called disseminated intravascular coagulation due to the damage to the endothelium of the blood vessels, and edema and circulatory collapse may ensure in severe cases. So the patient will present to you with high-grade fever, severe headaches, myalgias, and the other central nervous system changes could be present, such as delirium or coma. And in severe cases, DIC, which is disseminated intravascular coagulation, edema and hemorrhage, and then the circulatory collapse is present in the severe cases due to the damage of the endothelial of the blood vessels. The typical rash, which appears 2 to 6 days later, begins with macules. So now we will talk about the rash. As I told you that the rash will be present in some cases. The typical rash, which appears 2 to 6 days later, begins with macules that frequently progress to petechiae. What are macules? Macules, beta, मैंने बहुत दफा आप लोगों को बता चुकी हूँ. We will discuss in detail in the leprosy. Macules are actually the discolored regions present in the skins, but they are flat. They could be hypopigmented or they could be hyperpigmented. So the lesions are macules are actually the lesions of the on the skin that could be hypopigmented or hyperpigmented, and they are the flattened lesions. So macules actually क्या है बेटा, spots होंगे skin के ऊपर जो कि raised नहीं होते, लेकिन they could be light in as compared to the other parts of the skin, or they could be hyperpigmented, and they frequently progress to petechiae, which are actually the reddish or purplish spots on the skin due to the hemorrhage. And the rash usually appears first on the hands and feet and then move to or inwards towards the trunk. So rash सबसे पहले पैर कहाँ पे होता है? Hands and feet, and then it will move towards the trunk. Tick, which is a reservoir of rickettsia, is a very important reservoir as well as the vector. The organism is passed by the transovarian route from tick to tick, and the lifetime infection results. And the humans are actually the accidental host. So the reservoir of rickettsia is actually the tick, and it is transmitted to the humans by the bites of the ticks. And humans are the accidental host, and there is no person-to-person transmission. So beta yaad rakhna, person-to-person transmission nahi hai. They are only transmitted by the bite of the tick or the bite of the arthropod. Now we will move towards the Q fever. Q fever, as I told you, is caused by Coxiella burnetii, and there is exception in this type of disease because there is no arthropod vector present. It is caused by Coxiella burnetii, there is no arthropod vector, and it is only transmitted by the aerosols or by the respiratory droplets. The main organ involved in the Q fever is the lungs. It begins suddenly with fever, severe headache, cough, and other influenza-like symptoms. So the main site of the attachment is the lungs, और सारी की सारी manifestations भी respiratory tracts से related होंगी. They may be fever, severe headache, and the other influenza-like symptoms in which there could be runny nose, itchy eyes, and the main sign or symptom is fever, headache, and cough. There is no vasculitis-like symptom. There will be no DIC, no edema, no petechiae, no rash. So the only symptoms in the Q fever are fever, headache, cough, and other influenza-like symptoms. The important reservoirs for the human infection are cattle, sheep, and goats. And as I told you, there is no arthropod vector, and they are found in higher concentrations in the urine, feces, placental tissue, and amniotic fluids of the animals. It is transmitted to humans by inhalation of the aerosols of these materials. So transmission route is respiratory. They are transmitted to humans by aerosols or by the respiratory droplets. Now we will move towards the typhus. अभी तक हमने बेटा क्या डिस्कस किया? We discussed the important properties of rickettsia. We discussed the mode of transmission of rickettsia. We discussed the pathogenesis. We discussed the Rocky Mountain spotted fever. We discussed Q fever, and now we are going to discuss typhus. There are several forms of typhus, namely louse-borne epidemic typhus caused by Rickettsia prowazekii, flea-borne endemic typhus caused by Rickettsia typhi, chigger-borne scrub typhus caused by Rickettsia tsutsugamushi. Typhus begins with the sudden onset of chills, fever, headache, and other influenza-like symptoms approximately 1 to 3 weeks after the louse bite occurs. So the first symptoms that appear is fever or with chills, fever with rigors or chills, and headache and other influenza-like symptoms as present in the influenza, which could be runny nose, itchy eyes, or all the other influenza-like symptoms. We will discuss influenza and virology, then you will have a better idea of influenza-like symptoms. And it is like cold and flu symptoms, okay? Between the 5th and 9 days after the onset of the symptoms, a macular papular rash begins on the trunk and spreads peripherally. Now we are discussing typhus, which is also a tick-borne disease, which is also a arthropod-borne disease. The vectors are arthropods. So the site of the attachment is again the endothelial lining of the blood vessels. So whenever the site is endothelial of the blood vessels, there will be vasculitis, and whenever there is vasculitis, there could be maculopapular rash, which begins on the trunk and spreads peripherally. आपने बेटा जो हमने रैश पढ़ा था रॉकी माउंटेन स्पॉट फीवर में, वो मैंने आपको बताया था, it will begins on hands and feet and then it will spread to the trunk. But the rash present in the typhus is maculopapular rash, which begins on the trunk and spreads peripherally. The rash becomes petechial and spreads over the entire body, but spares the face, palms, and soles. So, इस rash में बेटा face, palms, and soles are not involved. The rash will begin on the trunk and spreads peripherally. Signs of severe meningoencephalitis are present, including delirium and coma. These signs and symptoms are very much same as that of the Rocky Mountain spotted fever, and begin with the rash and continue into the 2nd and 3rd weeks. And if untreated, death occurs from the peripheral vascular collapse, just like that, just like in the Rocky Mountain spotted fever. In the untreated cases or in the severe cases, there will be edema, DSE, or vascular collapse due to actually the increased vascular permeability leading towards the hemorrhage, or from the bacterial pneumonia. Now we will discuss the lab diagnosis. Before discussing the lab diagnosis, I will like to recall all the things which we discussed. First of all, we are आज हम पढ़ क्या रहे हैं? We are today discussing Rickettsia और उसकी सारी की सारी species, ठीक है? Rickettsia is actually a obligate intracellular parasite. There is no life cycle present. It is only obligate intracellular parasite. The cell wall resembles that of the gram-negative bacteria, but they can't be stained with the gram staining. So it is present within the cell. As I told you, it is obligate intracellular parasite. So it is for their survival, it is important that they should be present within the cell. So they are present in nature in the arthropods. Arthropods could be ticks, mites, lice, etc. And from the bite of arthropod, they are transmitted to humans. Arthropods के अंदर ये present हैं rickettsia, and they are transmitted to humans or to the other mammals by the bite of that tick or lice or the arthropod. Arthropod bite से ही बेटा ये humans तक transmission इसकी होती है, ठीक है. The mode of transmission is actually by the arthropods in all the species, in the Rickettsia, in the Rickettsia proviscae, in the Rickettsia tsutsugamushi, and there is exception, as I told you, exception here, which is Coxiella burnetii, which can't be transmitted by the bite of the arthropod. Because there is no arthropod reservoir, and it could be only transmitted by the aerosols from the cattle. And as I told you in the pathogenesis, the site of involvement is the site of the attachment is actually the endothelial of the blood vessels, which results in vasculitis. So in this Rocky Mountain spotted fever, which is caused by rickettsii, the site of involvement is endothelial of the blood vessels, and the signs and symptoms are due to increased vascular permeability. The first sign and symptom which appear is fever, headache, as the name told, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, headache, myalgias, and in severe cases there may be DIC and vascular collapse or circulatory collapse. ठीक है. और बेटा there could be other CNS symptoms which could be delirium or coma. And now we will move towards the next one, which is Q fever caused by Coxiella burnetii, which is an exception. As I told you, there is no arthropod vector, and the human mode of transmission to the humans is by the aerosols. And the third one is the Q fever. In the the third one is typhus, and the typhus is actually again a arthropod bond. Arthropod is a vector in the typhus, and the organisms are Rickettsia proviscae, Rickettsia tsutsugamushi, and this again the site of involvement is the endothelial of the blood vessels. Signs and symptoms are rash, macropapular rash, which is actually present on the trunk and then spreads to the other parts of the body. Whereas the rash which is present in the Rocky Mountain spotted fever first appears on the hands and feet, and then to the trunk. As I told you, there's an exception, which is Q fever, which is not arthropod borne disease. Arthropod is not a vector. The only reservoirs are cattle, and it is only transmitted to the humans by the aerosols, and the site of involvement is lungs. तो बेटा सारे के सारे sign symptoms क्या होंगे? Respiratory illness होगी actually. उसमें आपको मिलेगा, there could be fever, cough, and the influenza-like symptoms. So now we will move towards the lab diagnosis. The lab diagnosis of the rickettsial diseases is based on the serological analysis rather than isolation of the organisms. As I told you, it is obligate intracellular parasite. We can't culture it in the normal culture media which are present in our lab. We can't culture it on the blood agar. We can't culture it on the other like agars or the cultures like McConkey and Clet. We have to grow them in the cell cultures and embryonated eggs or in the experimental animals. So the diagnosis is actually by the serological analysis rather than the isolation of organism. हम इसे isolate नहीं कर पाते बेटा. So we will diagnose it on the basis of the serological analysis. In the serological test, we will find actually the antibodies against this organism. The indirect immunofluorescence test and ELISA tests are the most often used tests, and then comes the Weil-Flex reaction, which is of the historical interest but is not longer performed because of its specificity and sensitivity, which are very low. So we will discuss, we will diagnose it on the basis of the serological test, and in the serological test, you will either do indirect immunofluorescence assay or ELISA. ELISA को बहुत डिटेल में बेटा हमने किया हुआ है, ठीक है. And what is Weierflex reaction? In Weierflex reaction, actually you will find the antibodies against the rickettsial species when these antibodies cross-react with the Proteus vulgaris species, OX species of the Proteus vulgaris. So antibodies हमें मिलती हैं against the rickettsial species when the antigens, when they are agglutinated by the antigens present in the OX species of the Proteus vulgaris. Now comes to the treatment. Tetracycline with chloramphenicol. Tetracycline is the drug of choice, with chloramphenicol is the second choice. So the drug of choice is tetracycline and the second choice is chloramphenicol. Now we will discuss about the prevention. As I told you, there is orthopod vector. So the mode of prevention is the prevention of many of the diseases is based on reducing the exposure of the orthopod vector. हमने actually reduce करना exposure orthopod vector से कि हाँ ताकि orthopod vector जो है वो bite ना कर पाए, ठीक है? By wearing the protective clothes and using insect repellent. आपको जैसे हमने बेटा पहले भी पढ़े हैं ऑर्थोपोड वेक्टर्स, तो मैंने आपको यही हमेशा बताया कि बेटा आपने सबसे पहले प्रिवेंशन इज बेटर देन क्योर. तो सबसे पहले ही हमने क्या करना है कि वी शुड वेयर द प्रोटेक्टिव क्लोथिंग एंड वी शुड यूज द इंसेक्ट रिपेलेंट ताकि बाइट ही ना कर सकें ऑर्थोपोड्स, ठीक है, लाइक द मॉस्किटोज. And frequent examination of the skin for the ticks is important in preventing the Rocky Mountain spotted fever. The tick must be attached for several hours to transmit the disease. So we have to examine the skin very frequently by in the prevention of the Rocky Mountain spotted fever, because tick must be attached for several hours to transmit the disease. And there is no vaccine available against the Rocky Mountain spotted fever. This finishes our lecture. Any questions? Any questions? बच्चों कोई क्वेश्चन है? Beta, tomorrow we will finish the special bacteriology part 2 and it will end the whole bacteriology. Any questions? Beta, any questions? Okay, beta. Thank you.